All right, welcome to another deep dive. Today, you've handed us, well, a pretty intense chapter, chapter 24 of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster, right? I mean, there's so much packed in there. You've got the emotional turmoil, this thirst for revenge, and these huge philosophical questions.
It really takes everything that's been building up and just throws it at you.
Exactly. So get ready. Icy landscapes.
Oh, yeah.
A monster who's really wrestling with his conscience.
And a man driven, like really driven to the edge.
Totally. Right from the start, you feel Victor's just raw grief in this chapter. He finds the graves of, well, everyone.
Yeah, it's devastating.
It is. And Shelley, I mean, she doesn't hold back on the language. When he makes this oath of revenge, vowing to hunt the monster down, she uses that word mortal.
Right.
It's not just about defeating the monster. It's a fight to the death.
And that intensity, that shift from grief to this all-consuming need for revenge, it's very much a hallmark of the Romantic era.
Oh, definitely.
It's reflecting the deep emotional currents of the time, like the individual's struggle, against forces they just can't control.
And then we have the moment that changes everything.
Oh, yeah.
The monster speaks. He reveals himself to Victor, responding to that oath of revenge with what Shelley calls, get this, a loud and fiendish laugh.
It's chilling.
It is, right? So much packed into that laugh.
There's definitely mockery there, maybe even a bit of, satisfaction. It's like the monster saying, you think you have it bad, look at what you've made me become.
It's almost like he's saying, look what you've done.
Exactly.
But it's more than that, isn't it? There's a desperation, a plea for recognition almost.
Totally. The monster has been craving understanding. He wants connection. By revealing himself so dramatically, he's forcing Victor to acknowledge him, really face the consequences of his actions.
He's not in the shadows anymore.
Nope, he's demanding to be seen.
And then we're off. On this incredible chase across Europe to the Black Sea, these wild, vivid landscapes. Shelley's descriptions, they just pull you in. The monster leaving clues, Victor starving, those strange moments of help he gets, almost supernatural help.
It almost feels like something bigger is going on.
Doesn't it? Like something pulling the strings. There's this sense of destiny, like some unseen force is propelling Victor forward. But also this incredible resilience.
It's wild, isn't it?
It is. It makes you wonder, what's really driving him? Is it just revenge, or is there something deeper?
Such a good question. And it gets even more intense as they reach the Arctic, this vast, icy wasteland, the constant threat of freezing to death. But Victor, he keeps going. He's totally fixated.
And then there's the inscription the monster leaves, taunting him.
Oh, yeah. Talk about psychological warfare.
He's pushing Victor to the edge, to the absolute breaking point.
He really embodies that classic romantic theme, man versus nature.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Is the monster, this force of nature, something that Victor just can't overcome?
Is it a battle he's destined to lose from the very beginning? Ooh, I like that. And just when it seems like Victor can't go on any longer, he finds Walton's ship.
That beacon of hope.
In this desolate, icy landscape.
Mm.
But he's not just chasing the monster anymore, he's racing against death itself.
Which begs the question, why does Victor tell his story to Walton?
Why does he do that?
Is it a warning, confession, or some kind of desperate plea for someone else to finish what he started?
Honestly, I think it's all those things. Victor's carrying so much guilt, regret, but he's terrified of what the monster might do if he's not stopped. He's passing the burden, the responsibility.
It's heavy stuff, that weight of creation, and the consequences, being passed on like that. And it leads us, well, to the tragic end of Victor's journey.
It does, because even though he finds Walton's ship, his body, it just can't keep up with this relentless pursuit.
He's been through so much.
He has, and his death is not peaceful.
No, not at all.
Picture him, right, worn down, his life consumed by this chase. But even as he's fading, there's still that burning desire for revenge.
Almost like he can't let go of it.
He can't. He's surrounded by the ghosts of everyone he's lost. But there's this sense of relief, too. Like he's welcoming death, like it's an escape.
And then the monster shows up.
At Victor's deathbed.
Right. And it really challenges everything we think we know about him. He grieves. There's real sorrow there, maybe even remorse.
It's like he's suddenly realizing what he's done. By destroying Victor, he's destroyed the only being who ever understood him, understood his pain.
And it raises a huge philosophical question. Can a being created for evil, can they ever find redemption?
And can they break free from that,
Mm-hmm.
from how they were created? and choose a different path. I mean, it's heartbreaking.
It is. And Victor, even in his last moments, he's wrestling with his role in all of this.
He is.
He admits he failed to care for the monster, to protect him, but he defends his choice to not create a companion, saying his duty to humanity, well, that had to come first.
But his choice, it led to so much suffering. It really makes you think, who's the real monster here?
That's the question, isn't it?
The creator or the creation? And then the monster's final speech. It's chilling, heart-wrenching. This confession of self-loathing. He wants to end his suffering, so he chooses self-immolation, a fiery end to his tormented existence.
Wow.
That image, the monster consumed by flames, it's so powerful. It's like he's trying to purify himself, find some kind of release from the agony of being.
He's just erasive.
He disappears into the wilderness, leaving only, well, the echo of his pain. And we're left wondering, did he find peace?
It's ambiguous. Shelley doesn't give us any easy answers. She wants us to think about it, to confront the complexity of the monster's character.
What strikes me is how much understanding he shows. In those final moments, he knows the horror he's inflicted, but he points to the cruelty he endured, the rejection. It fueled his rage. He's both victim and villain.
It's true. And that fire, it's not just about destruction. It's symbolic. Fire can cleanse, purify. Like he's trying to erase himself, to leave no trace.
It speaks to his loneliness.
Yeah.
And despair. Like he could never find acceptance
Mm-hmm.
or redemption.
Never belong.
So we reach the end of chapter 24.
Mm-hmm.
But the questions linger. It's a story that stays with you.
It really does.
The themes, good and evil, responsibility, the destructive nature of revenge, they all resonate, with our own human experience.
Out there.
They do. It makes you confront your own prejudices, your fears, and think about the consequences of your actions, even the unintended ones.
And it reminds us that even in the darkest stories, there can be hope, redemption, a recognition of our shared humanity.
However flawed. Now, put yourself in Walton's place. You've heard Victor's story, witnessed the monster's grief. Would you have honored Victor's request for revenge?
It's something to think about.
That fire, that image of purification, it makes you think about, the different ways we interpret things.
Absolutely. It's not always about destruction. It can be about renewal, too.
Right. He's trying to wipe the slate clean, start over. But he can't. He's trapped by what he is.
And that's the tragedy, isn't it? Even with that desire for change, he can't escape his past.
It's like he's saying, I can't live with this, but I can't undo it either.
And Shelley leaves that question hanging, doesn't she? Does he find peace, or is he still out there, tormented? We don't know.
We don't. Each reader has to decide that for themselves. But that's what makes Frankenstein so powerful. It's not just a monster story.
Right. It's so much more.
It's about what it means to be human, to create, to love, to lose, and to face the consequences of our choices.
And it makes us look at our own darkness.
It does.
The capacity for, both good and evil that we all have.
And it's not always a comfortable thing to face, but it's important. So as we wrap up our deep dive into chapter 24, I'm curious, what's stuck with you? What questions are you still thinking about?
I keep coming back to the monster's final words, that mix of despair and defiance. It's a reminder that even in the darkest hearts, there's still a spark of humanity.
It's a story that stays with you, challenges you, haunts you even.
It makes you think.
And that's the beauty of great literature. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring those big questions. Keep those pages turning.